It's 8:45 on this Monday, chilly Monday morning in Chicagoland. You're listening to Catholic Radio, where we bring you the good news of the good works being done within the Catholic Archdiocese of Chicago. This is our special Catholic Schools Today program. I'm Graziano Marcheski, talking with Dr. Jim Rigg, our Superintendent of Catholic Schools. And we're speaking with Sister Mary Jo Sobiek, who is a theology teacher at Marian Catholic High School and the object of much recent notoriety because of an amazing pitch she threw over the plate down at Sox Park.
Yes.
Lucky to have Sister here. Marian Catholic, very lucky to have her, aren't they?
Yes, indeed. Oh, yes, indeed. Yeah, we were talking a little bit over the break about the Dominican sisters out of Springfield, and it occurs to me last week was actually National Vocations Awareness Week. Mm-hmm. So we were discussing before the break, you teaching theology and particularly morality to juniors, which I know is not easy. Whether it's teaching kids about vocations to religious life, whether it's just talking about the Catholic faith. I mean, how do you address the faith formation of the students under your care, particularly in an era where we see so many increasingly critical of the church? The church has made some mistakes. Students want to think independently. There are some misperceptions about the Catholic faith and what it represents. I mean, talk to us about how you teach young people about the faith.
There's a lot of things I try to instill in them that are just sound bites, because that's really how kids take in information now, right? It's a tweet. It can't be too lengthy, otherwise you're going to lose them. And one of the things I really try to instill in them is a sense of balance. There's a lot that's being, poured out on them with regards to their extracurriculars, their studies. We're a college prep school, so there's, a lot of expectations, not only academically, but socially. And so I try to really help them understand, a balanced life is not one that's lived on the trajectory. Social media gives the impression that everything has to be perfect. Everything has to be cool, or you have to have the likes, and I help them understand, the Paschal mystery of life is that life goes up and it comes down. And it's in the down moments when you're going to learn the most. So
Amen.
I try to really help the kids recognize that, a balanced life is being able to rejoice when things are great, and giving them examples about school and games and family situations. But it's also learning to embrace suffering. And that's the cross. And when they can do that, they're going to be more prepared when disappointments come, because none of us are exempt from suffering, And as a Dominican sister at Marian Catholic, our motto of St. Dominic is truth, veritas, and I think both of us, all three of us in this room, understand that. The media doesn't always tell us the truth. The church, right? It's supposed to be that foundation of truth, but we're seeing models that haven't been truthful.
Right.
So how do we help kids discern the truth, and what is, Pilate? What is truth?
Yep.
And so to live, the other part of that for me is not only to help kids find the balance, but it's to live from the inside out. Yep. And when you live from the inside out, there's that sense of assurance that things are going to be okay. I'm a person of joy. It doesn't mean I'm going to be happy all the time. Things are great, but it's a certainty that says, God is going to take care of this. If I live allowing what is outside of me to determine my purpose and my worth, then we are all in a world of hurt. We are all going to be kind of shaken. But if we can live from that foundation of truth from within, then we decide who we are. We know who we are. And then we don't allow what's coming at us to determine us. We determine it and then live from there.
I want to sit in on Sister's class here. I'm learning stuff here. I'm inspired. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And so, turning now to your experience as an athlete, I have 4 children. Some of them do sports. I am amazed at how competitive sports are, and how not just kids but often parents aren't on their best behavior, aren't demonstrating a Christian attitude while involved in sports. How can sports help to be a lever, an avenue for teaching the faith?
I've been given that question in other interviews, and I think much of my vocation, first and foremost, coming from my mother and my dad and my family, but it came from my involvement with my teammates and my coaches, and that sense of community and the discipline and the commitment that you have to getting up every day, to wanting to exercise, and be fit physically. I mentioned earlier, I've always, my dream was to be an Olympian. I love sports. And we put Olympic athletes and professional athletes on this pedestal as if that is such, a high kind of standard that you have to work really hard. Not everybody's going to get that. Well, now, Pope Francis has said we need more saints. And since I've become a religious, I entered in 1993, the Dominican Sisters of Springfield. Over these years, I've applied that same ethic of discipline and commitment, and working out the muscle, that grace muscle in my life, and trying to strengthen myself in virtue. And now I want to be a saint, And so I work every day to and of course we fall short. We're not always going to have a good game, right? And so we're not always going to have those best days, But that's when you check yourself and you see where you are weak, and then you go there and you work that out. It's a working out of our salvation. And so every day it's an opportunity to grow and to help, just like my teammates pushed me to be my best for the good of the team. My sisters in community, they push me to be a better me, and it doesn't always feel good. Sometimes it's hard, the things that they draw to your attention, but now it's wanting to be the best version of ourselves for the good of the community, for the good of the school, for the good of the kids, for the good of the world, ideally, so that we can build the kingdom. I mean, we're all working together. It's a team. The guys from Golick and Wingo said to me on ESPN, I said, Sister Jean and I competing. I said, we are not competing. We are collaborators in a bigger mission and on the same team. And so that's what really it's about. Now,
I'm sure that you talk about humility in your classes, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm just wondering how you're going to be able to do that once your bobblehead is created. I understand here that the National Bobblehead Hall of Fame is honoring you with a bobblehead?
Yes.
Well, you've made it when
you
get a bobblehead from the Bobblehead Hall of Fame.
How does a woman who has a bobblehead in the National Bobblehead Hall of Fame talk about humility? I mean, that's going to be a challenge.
No, well, I'll tell you how. And I had the opportunity on September 22nd. And this is what a lot of people don't know. When the Cubs played the White Sox in the crosstown rival game, I was invited to give another pitch. And that pitch didn't turn out as well as the first one. And the gentleman that went before me, he bounced it. And so it was my turn. And a lot of the guys in the dugout were saying, Sister, you can't bounce it. You can't bounce it. You got, And I went there, I practiced and I did the same routine, the point to the sky to my mom. I did the bicep bump, and I turned and I threw it hard, and I bounced it right before the plate. And I was disappointed at first. I just kind of, put my hands on my knees like, all these people had come with that anticipation, right? The expectation that there's that nun, she's going to do it again. And I didn't. I didn't meet the expectations of everyone, nor my own expectations for that matter. And as I kind of put my hands on my knees in frustration, I remembered what I've told the kids, that a balanced life goes up and it comes down.
Amen.
And I went to my knees, and if you you can find that picture on the internet also. And I put my hands up and I said to myself, God, I'm going to praise you when the pitch is perfect, and I'm going to praise you when it bounces before the plate. And I've been going out with our admissions people to some of our feeder schools, and that's the story I tell.
Yeah,
and I
God.
say to them, that's what I want you kids to do. Is you're not always going to hit the target. We're not always going to hit the target. But if we look with everything with eyes of faith, then we can understand, even when it bounces before the plate, that's a lesson in life too. That's humility. That's the balance. And it's been a wonderful opportunity to see both
much
ends
better
of it.
than two perfect pitches would not have given
No.
you as much to talk about.
Exactly,
Yeah.
Graziano.
Even your second pitch was much better than what I could do.
Yes.
You know, I first met the Springfield Dominicans back in the 80s. My wife and I were teaching at Loyola, and we had 2 Springfield Dominicans in our class.
Sure.
Now, it was a class that included drama and movement and dance. So they would come in their full habit down to the floor, go to the locker room, change into, athletic wear, come out. I was like, what happened to the sisters? But I realized, the habits are modified now, but the Springfields have chosen to retain the habit. Can you talk about the witness of the habit? Why your community has chosen to retain that?
Well, it really is a choice. I mean, because there was a few chapters back when we did give the option, though, for sisters to go into more modified clothing, more simple professional dress. So not all of them choose to wear the modified habit. Some wear regular, dress clothes or whatever. But my choosing to do that, I think, is simplicity. It is, I grew up with Benedictines and Franciscans, and for me, the habit doesn't reflect maybe what it did for some people then who've chosen to get out of the habit. And I'm not even going to say why, because I can't decide for them. But, it's always for me been a sign value.
Yeah.
And simplicity. And even if, St. Francis, you preach the gospel at all times, if necessary, use words. And if seeing me in a habit causes another to think of God, whether good or bad, God is on their mind.
Amen.
Right? And so I can only speak for myself to that, Graziano, and I'm happy. I feel privileged and honored and grateful that my community continues to give us that choice, give me that choice, and to affirm my choosing to wear it.
Praise God.
Now, this is kind of changing gears. This is an important time of year for our Catholic high schools. We have the test, the placement test, coming up on the 1st of December. Families can register for that test starting on the 17th of November. If you could just very quickly give us the contact information for Marion High School, a great high school on the far south side of the Archdiocese, proud history, sponsored by the Dominican Sisters.
And you got 20 seconds.
Give us a website and phone number.
Well, the website is Marion Catholic. I don't even know what the website is. It's
We can
Marion
put it on our
Catholic.
Just Google Marion Catholic.
Isn't that funny? I just know mine is smjs@marionchs.com. That's probably what it is, marionchs.com. Principal Steve Tortorello. It's a wonderful school, teaching scholars with a soul. 700 Ashland Avenue, south suburbs of Chicago, right near Orland Park and Indiana. We get a lot of kids from Northwest Indiana, but it's a good central hub.
And your child can sign up for class with Sister Mary Jo.
Absolutely. Wonderful.
Yes.
Well, we're out of time. So we thank Sister Mary Jo. We thank Dr. Jim.
My pleasure.
Leading the Catholic schools here in the Archdiocese of Chicago. But most of all, we thank you for listening. And we'll see you the next time on the radio. God bless you.
Join us every Monday through Friday at this time for Catholic Chicago. You can stream our programs live or listen to past programs by visiting our website, archchicago.org, and clicking on Radio TV. And please connect with Catholic Chicago on social media.